Welcome to another edition of Men on the Rise, where we always empower and inspire men to be great. And today we're being sponsored by Jermaine Delvis Studios, as well as we always have great guests. And today I have a great gentleman on the podcast with us. His name is Mr. Casey Moore of More Vision Empowerment, where he is resilient and reentry is his focus on helping men to be able to be the best they can possibly be. And so, Mr. Casey, how you doing today, my guy?
Man, I'm good, man. All is well. All is well. How you doing?
Man, it's great, man. So glad to have you on today, man. We about to have a great discussion, man. We're in for a treat. Knowing all that you have done and all that you do, man, I'm looking forward to the conversation, man. But if you wouldn't mind, take a few moments just to introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who is my man, Casey Moore.
Man, I am Casey Moore, guys. I'm a brother coming from the same community that most of us come from, just out here doing the work. A guy that been through some adversity out here, getting back into the community with our youngest, man. My heart is in the communities with our babies. It's all about restoring them and making sure they do what they got to do as the generation coming up after us. So, yeah, that's a little bit. I guess we can get into our little as we go on.
Yeah, we about to talk about it, man, because I love your gear, man. Tell me about what you got on there, man. Tell me what it's about.
Yeah, so man, I always wear, this is like a speaking piece that I have, man. Like I said, I'm a guy from the community as a junior in high school. At 17 years old, I was convicted and sentenced to prison for 20 years. So, after getting through that, first of all, after going through that, I realized that I wasn't the only one going through it. I realized that it was a majority of black men in prison around my same age going through these same things. And now that I'm out here in the community, going to school, I'm a full-time student as well at Fayetteville State University, and also a prep coach there for one of their programs. But now that I'm on campuses and I travel these over universities, speaking and stuff like that, I'm realizing that it's more black men in prison than it is on college campuses. So to me, that was heartbreaking. And it was like, no, something got to be done about that. And a lot of my network, some of my friends, my guys that come from the situation I came from, a lot of them trying to, like, how did you get in this situation? Like, I thought I couldn't do it. I got this conviction. They're not going to let me do it. And I'm like, bro, you just got to apply. And a lot of them don't have the tools to actually, get there. So that's kind of what I provide, give them some actual navigating tools to actually get to the next level in their life, regardless to where they come from. So, yeah.
Man, we're going to talk about it, bro. But I'm just thinking about my path, man. By the grace of God, I did not do time. We all probably have some things that, man, only if we was exposed, we all could have been doing mad time for whatever. But this for me, I've had 3 times where I've been locked up for overnight. And I was like, Lord, that's a long time just to be in a confined space for any period of time. And so that is definitely something that I found challenging, but at the same time, I want you to kind of talk about the journey that you went through, because even talking to you now, this is know how focused you are. This is know this how it's in your heart to resonate with these young men. But you have a story that got you there, because if you did not go through what you went through, your misery, you would not have the ministry and the business that you have now. So I sort of want us to kind of go back and kind of talk about what maybe as much as possible, what decisions you were making on the front end to help you now to where you are. But go ahead.
As far as I always was a kid. Like, even when I was a kid, I always was a guy that had ambition, that had goal and drive. It's one thing that I tell the guys now, you can have the greatest intention in the world, but sometimes your environment will trump that intention. When you're not around people that aspire to do what you say you want to do in life, your moms, your dad, or just people in the community, 9 times out of 10 with children, they don't listen to what they hear. They only listen to what they see. They repeat what they see. So a lot of times your environment will kind of trump your intentions of doing these great things. And that's kind of what mine did. And I ended up going to prison. But it's things that led up to that. It wasn't just going to prison at 17. I had a few juvenile bids that I did too in a few different other states. So there's a few things that led up to it. But even when I got there, like I said, it was the study. It was a laser sharp focus. Luckily, I got with some guys, man. You got all kind of cultures in prison. You got the gangs, blood, Crip folks. You got Muslim brothers, Rasta. You got so many brothers that was recruiting me. I don't know what they saw me at the time, but I know when I walked through that door, outside of my homeboys that I knew prior to going to prison, you had so many guys trying to recruit you. just to come into that fold, because numbers is strength back there. You got the numbers, it'd be, strengths. So yeah. I think I could, if I could touch on anything, if I can rewind, man, let me touch on some things that happened prior to. I think prior to prison, like it was real unstable. And there's no shot into my family or my mom's or anything, but she was just like any other black mother, single parent mother raising 3 children on her own. Even though I had my dad in my life, but he was so far at a distance. He was in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So a lot of things that she probably wanted to provide for us, she just couldn't because she had to work all day. And then you'd come home, as boys, we getting outside doing what we want to do. And all these days, when she didn't have time to actually apply focus and nourish us and nurture us in a way that she probably wanted to, because she had to play that dual role like most of our black women in our community. So yeah, and that, you know how that go. Yeah.
Man, that's key, man. But definitely, man. So when you was out in the streets, were you in the gang activity? What kind of things were you finding yourself
I wasn't with
the direction?
Man, I wasn't with the games, you know what I'm saying? I was around the games. And I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't that I didn't want to be a part of a game. It was just the fact that I was my own man. I always be like, man, I couldn't get over the fact that I had to listen to somebody, or they could tell me what to do or go do this. And then it's like, I got to bring it back. I couldn't get over the fact that somebody just having that type of control or authority over me, even as a youngin'. So it was like, I never did it. I always wanted to do my own thing. So I was still doing stuff with the game, but I didn't actually be initiated into the game. You dig what I'm saying? So a little different.
Well, glad. Well, now talk about the journey of what led you or got you to the point where now you was looking at being sentenced to those 20 years. And was that the sentence, or you only had to do 20? How did that all play in?
Well, in the state of South Carolina, I got sentenced to 20 years, violent, 85%. So I had to do 85% of the sentence, which is 17 years and 6 months in prison. And then I got out and I had to do 2 years of the sentence on probation. So roughly about 19 years and 7 months total on the sentence before I actually got out of it. Yeah.
Man, so I just want to hear a little bit about, because like I said, myself, I only did a night in jail.
Yeah.
You did some time in jail. So I just want, for those who may have experienced, those who may not, what's that story look like?
For one, I just want to let the guys know, even if, like some guys are not in this situation, but if I could throw out some numbers, man, 1 out of every 3 black boys end up with a conviction on their record. From the ages of 13 to 21, 41% of our youth end up being arrested. And when I went to prison, 68% of state prison population were high school dropouts. You dig what I'm saying? So it's things that's going on out here that's actually systematic, that kind of filter us into these situations. So whether, young men know this or not, they're going to have to understand that it's all about regulating your emotions. They win off us not being able to regulate our emotions. So that's what led me just not understanding how to control my emotions and still execute, just like a lot of our other men out here, or young men out here without a father in the household. Without a father figure or a masculine figure in the household, we end up kind of filtering our emotions out into the community, and oftentimes it's destructive.
Now, I want to talk about this because I don't know, when they think about mental health, we always think about you have to take pills or be crazy or whatever, but it's so many layers to that. You don't know about yourself, but for me, I know that I was slower to learn, comprehend through various different ways. Maybe ADHD back in the day, they call you need some written or whatever, simple stuff like that. But knowing that the mental capacity of some of the things we deal with, and sometimes we have coping ways we deal with mental health. So some may drink, some may take alcohol, drink, or may you take other type of drugs, but that is real. And so some of the things, I don't know if they ever played a factor with you, but we want to really talk about this, even in the fact that mentally being being able to deal with whatever, those things that you may have to. So I don't know about you, but like I say, for me, I knew it takes me a little longer. It did take me a little longer to try to think through, not as fast as the next person, but once you get it, you got it. And so let's just hear on your standpoint, was it ever something that say mental health or anything like that that you may even see, brother, personally, or you see some of these brothers who deal with that they have made certain decisions, but then ways to overcome those barriers that they may face themselves in?
Yeah, for me, it was, yeah, of course it was mental health, man. We come from, you know, where we come from, that environment. Of course it's mental health. It's traumatic experiences and not knowing how to respond to it. It's this quote that I came across. It says, it's not what happened to a man that traumatizes him. It's how he chooses to respond to it. And as a kid, you don't know how to respond to traumatic situations. We don't even have discernment, let alone understanding how to respond to a traumatic situations. And like I said, uh, you know, people's stories may not be prison, but it could be molestation. It can be drug abuse. It could be alcohol. It could be just their dad not around. It can be just bullying, cyberbullying. It could be so many different things. But this is where I come in most of these spaces because I use it on me, and I come in most of these spaces and provide restorative justice practices. If you don't restore a man or a woman or a child's emotions or validation or self-worth or just a clear view of themselves in a future, then it'll be totally impossible to actually help them heal through that situation. So it's all about creating that safe space to have the dialogue to actually uproot what it is that the child or the person is dealing with. A lot of times we'll judge behavior, but we never address the root issue of what causes the behavior. And unfortunately, in the Black household where I came from, once you in that intense situation where you might have got us in trouble, you may have did something that wasn't right. You know, my mom's, you couldn't talk. Shut up while I'm talking. She killed my voice. My dad killed my voice. When they're talking, ain't no more talking. Hey, boy, shut up. Stop crying. I'm going to give you something to cry about. In return, it kind of took away my voice. So as I grew older, when the things I was hurting about, the things I was grieving about, the things I was frustrated about, the things that was confused about, I didn't know how to communicate it because as a kid, I was always told, shut up, stop crying, or I ain't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I took that, bottled it up, and a lot of times it rolled. It kind of comes out in all kind of forms, and that's how you get alcoholism. That's how you get drug addictions. That's how you get mass incarceration rates shooting through the roof. That's how you get suicide. That's how you get these things because there's no validation when it comes to the actual human feelings, emotions. You know what I mean? Mental health is everything. You know what I mean? Everybody want to be heard. Everybody have emotions they want to express. But, you know, over time, sometimes that can kind of get to a person.
Man, you said something so important, man. And I found myself being guilty of this at times in my boys' life. I raised three boys, but and growing up for me, of course, like you said, your parents say, back talking and kind of get on you anytime you try to express yourself and not allowing you to speak your thoughts. And so I always say, yeah, so I definitely love the fact what you're saying on that. And so knowing that your voice does matter. Now, of course, you want to do it in a way that's respectful, especially when your parents, my mom wouldn't allow you to say too much, but knowing now this how important it is to hear your child's voice. Allow them to speak what their heart is telling them, and that plays a factor, not to silence them, to teach them to learn the essence of their voice, man. Go ahead. I know you had something else you want to say, but that's so important to be able to make sure we're hearing our children.
For sure. I'm raising, I have one child. I have a 3-year-old son. And, you know, that primary discipline starts now, 0 to 5 years. So I have this thing where he's upset, he's crying, acting out, pouting, or whatever he may be doing when it comes to his emotions. I allow him that space, that 10-minute rule, that I allow him that space to get it out, whether he crying, pouting, and all that. But I make sure I had this conversation with him now, like, you okay? It's okay to feel. It's okay to cry. If it hurts your feelings, I understand you have a right to feel. And then I also follow up with, this is why you cannot do, or this is why I am doing this. I understand you don't like it in this moment, but I got to do this. You okay? And after I talk to him, he calms down. Take him through the breathe. I tell him to breathe all the time. So it's certain things that you can or must do when it comes to raising males to become men, boys to become men. So with mine, like, I always make sure I validate his emotions. I always make sure he's understanding what he's going through so he can identify the emotion in order to compartmentalize it to actually carry on through the day and get what he need to get done. So yeah.
That's good. Man, I was thinking about something I heard from a guy, Brian Tracy. He says this, before a child become 5 years old, you're gonna have to tell them 5,000 no's.
For sure.
You're gonna have to do that. But you also gotta find 20,000 yeses that you're gonna have to reward them. So you gotta find the ways that you can compliment them and then esteem them on the positive side of things, as well as the things that they did on the negative. And so we as parents have to make sure that we're not only saying no, 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 but how can we say yes, yes, yes? Yes, you did a great job. Yes, you are king. Yes, you are speaking life into them to be able to reassure them that they are somewhere and they do have it within them. A prime example was my youngest son. Now, he was a little challenged in certain ways, and he will definitely find ways to, sometimes get in trouble. In the times he did get in trouble, I would just tell him, you're a good boy. I always reassured him, you're a good boy. So he got to the point where even though he made a bad choice, he would always say, Daddy, I'm a good boy, right? And I would reassure him, yeah, you're a good boy. Now, I don't like what you did, but you a good boy. And so it resonated. It took shape, but you kind of keep on regurgitating, reminding them, speaking into those lives of letting them know who they are.
For sure.
Yeah, so that was something I know I've learned to do and continue to do even to myself. Even though I don't like the situation, there's some kind of a faith, but I can't speak life to what I believe it is that I'm doing.
Yeah. So, we're raising our son, as a black man or black, we got to understand that our role there is essential. It's primary, actually. I know for me, when I was younger watching, my mom's raised us, she couldn't quite tell us how to handle our emotions when we had certain questions, just dealing with young boy stuff, whether we was upset, whether we was angry, or whether we was just dealing with girls or just dealing with the stuff we saw when we would come to the community. Mom Deuce didn't know how to address none of these things. She didn't actually know how to tell me how to bring reason to my emotions to make the best decision possible. So, we kind of bumped our head and had to figure out the best way possible. And that's the reason why over 55% of the prison population come from single parent household. The dad is not here. And that's another thing I always hear. They always diagnosing us when we having these ADHD and all these different things that they diagnosing us with when it come to our energy and the way we express ourselves. I always say it ain't that we suffer from these psychotic issues. It just ain't no daddy at home syndrome. I like to call it that. When the dad is not in the household, then the household most of the time is in an uproar. It's in shambles. It's a African proverb. It says the ruins of a nation starts within the household of his own people. And if you missing the man, the foundation, the protector, the guider, the one that's going to actually lay down the foundation for the household to thrive, then we already coming from behind now. So our voice is needed. Our presence is needed. So, yeah.
No doubt, my brother. Just going to time on this. So over 64% of Black children growing up in single parent household impacting emotional, social, and academic outcomes. So it's basically saying that some of the challenges that we face, like you said, that those who are in prison were 55%, but even in their household, some of the challenges, fatherless. By not having father there in the day-to-day, what's going on, to being part of that guidance, that discipline, that plays a major factor in the wholeness of who we can become. And so, man, I wanted this us talk a little bit about the importance of us as men. Some of us may not have a physical father because sometimes our father may have died or whatever the situation, but just knowing we have male presence in the children's lives makes a big impact. And so for me, even though my father was there, he was mature, mentally wasn't in the place to be the father. But at the time of me growing up at a very young age, but I had other men, my uncles, and as I went on to be a part of teams and somebody that had coaches that led me in a positive way. And so taking those people in your community and being an impact can make a major difference. And so I love even what you're doing now as when you're going back into community. And I want to kind of talk about that as well, because you found a way even after your incarceration to get into the lives of other youth and made your presence known because you saw something that you could do to make an impact in others. And let's just kind of talk a little bit on that, because really want us as men to know, hey, your voice and your presence matters.
For sure. I was able, like I said, I had to, it's always a problem. You got to identify the problem first before you can even build upon creating a solution for it. I saw a problem that was needed when I got out here in the community, and specifically my household. I realized that it was nothing but women and children. You know what I mean? What's nothing but women and children. When I went to the schools, it was nothing but women and children. When I went to the community rape centers, it was nothing but women and children. You go to the churches, majority women and children. So I felt as though, like I always say, the presence of a man, period, is missing in our communities. And this is the reason why it's in shambles. So I took it upon myself is to become what I didn't have. Instead of being a product of my environment, I became a product for my environment by educating myself. I was studious, real studious when I was in prison. I became disciplined when it came to certain ethics, when it comes to just being a good human. I just took the things that I needed to do to get out here to create a better version for myself so I could save the next child life before they end up doing some of the things that I done. And if you will, if I could kind of like pivot and get back to something that I think we was talking about like maybe 5 minutes ago, I think I left out and I wanted to talk about women just playing a role and the fathers not really being in the household. I run into a lot of fathers out here, and unfortunately that they would say that, my child moms won't let me see my kid, or now that I got another lady, or whatever the case may be, the mother for some reason might start acting a little weird or crazy towards them. But I always tell them, bro, I don't like to blame our women at all, because until we start healing ourselves as leaders, as men, as educators, as providers, as creators, until we start building that solid foundation for a family, then she's going, of course, an insecure woman, when it comes to her bills being paid, gonna scream. A woman that can't is having a hard time providing for a child that you help her create. Of course, she's gonna make it known. And just because you don't like what she's saying does not, negate the fact that she's actually providing for this kid. And even if you got fathers that's actually providing, is still having a hard time with the mothers. But you have to understand that the mothers are traumatized too. They might not have their dad. They have their own traumatic experiences as well. So I just like this. I don't like to point the blame game. Your grandma used to say you pointing one finger at you, somebody else 3 pointing back at you. So it's about just kind of like going back into yourself, reestablishing the value within yourself, your mindset, and see how you can be a better version of yourself to be a better father or a better helpmate to the mother of your child. So it's about a group effort, period. It ain't really about who. It's about coming together and figuring it out.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff, bro. Definitely want to make sure that, even if things are not close or easy for you to be in a child's life, sometimes it just take you to play what you can do in spite of what you can't do. So let's not focus on the fact of that I can't be on the day-to-day connecting with a child. But what can I do? I still can, regardless of what, I'm going to give so into this child's life. So the mother may not allow me to see the child, but I still can actually give us $200 or whatever I need to do to help this child. And then over time, I can then see the change. And if it doesn't change, I still got to know that I've done my part to do what I could do to be able to stand up and be the man that I know I've been called to. Because I think sometimes we as men, what brings confidence is when we have had successes in our lives. And so the more negatives that we say, man, I need to do this, but I don't do this, the more and more smaller we become in those areas. And so we want to be a great father, but we don't make small deposits day to day to become a great father. And we just continue doing the small things, whether if it's just taking a small step forward, then we build on that. Whether it's whatever that is, start making small deposits and watch how that thing grow over time. And now we can stand confidently and say, hey, I am, in spite of what it looks like, I know I've done my part to help this thing along.
For sure. Babies are the greatest, man. I thrive for it. This is part of my healing when it comes to mental health. Like I heal, like when I'm out here on the stage speaking to these at-risk youth, or out here in the community just chopping it up with them. I get to heal every time. It's like, what could I say when I get stuck? Like, I don't know what to say to this one, because you got to engage all of them differently, because all of them have their own unique personality. and you got to come up with a tool to actually relate. You can't figure out how to relate or connect with our kids. It's gonna go over their head the whole time. Though. It's gonna go over their head, and you're gonna be like, "Why you not talking? Why you shut down? Not talking to them?" But I don't have those problems. We engage pretty fine because I let them be them. I'm here to listen. I'm here to value you. I'm here to value your conversation and your emotions. So, yeah.
Man, that's cool, man. So let's talk in that space of what we got going on, man. Because I know we both have some similarities. Both of us in the speaking space. Both of us love to really impact the lives of our young men and want to see them be the success that they have been called to. And so knowing that you did your 20 years, and once you got out, you start getting involved in the different spaces in the schools and all that. And I don't think you asked to be there. You just kind of found it and you just jumped in there. Hey, put me in, coach, put me in. So I love that because a lot of times we don't know all the steps. We just have to make a step. And when you make that step, then you start seeing doors open for you, resources start coming to you, and things start happening that you didn't even ask for, but you know it's going to happen. It is happening. It's continue to grow because we took action. So, man, I love the fact you took action on something you knew that you've been called to, man. So tell me and let me hear that, what happened to really resonate, to push that thing going where you at now.
Yeah, man, the work, bro. Like I said, I didn't ask to be in. Like you said, I didn't ask to go to school. The opportunity came, but all I thought was the school provided a space so I can get to these youngins. I knew it was a bunch of kids there, so I'm like, man, I got a story. I know they gravitate to me, and I got a pyramid that I created that I navigated through prison, but it's actually can use in life. I realize now in life you can actually use this. So that's what it was. They got to understand that they're going to have discipline on their emotions to be able to reflect on some of the things that they go through so they can actually still get out here and selectively network. They got to understand that they're going to have to be dedicated to the mission. You're going to have to, and when I say dedicated to the mission, you have to be dedicated to yourself, your future self, but also be able to reflect. Release some of the things that's going to disturb you or throw you off through the journey so you can still get out there and get the necessary relationships. It's still things you have to be determined. So many things that I could speak on that got me here. You understand what I'm saying? You have to take your mission in life seriously. If you don't, nobody else will. I did not want to come out here complaining of what I couldn't do because I'm a convicted felon. No, I saw, this is a lot of opportunity. This is what I can do. And I know it's a lot of faces and people with voices just like me, just don't know what to do. And like I said, like restorative practices has healed me beyond my wildest dreams. The more I applied it, the more I kind of use my navigation thing, the more I can get into these spaces and do the work to cause a greater impact. It's not about me. Like I said, it's about preparing the next generation that come up after us. My life won't be in vain. So that's what it's about, bro. So
yeah, man, I love it, man. So what we have done, we have created a piece called Men on the Rise. And so Men on the Rise to me is to empower, inspire men to be great, to be a positive impact on their community. And I love just how you have done that. We have been able to come together. We have our rap sessions and you chimed in, you took it as this is my space. I'm a part of a community that we all are here to win and grow and iron sharpen iron. And so I just want you to share this, what has that meant for you to be a part of other men such as this? What has it done for you, my brother?
Yeah, Men on the Rise. I think I told you this maybe the other day. I was a guy, got out of prison at 35, 36, got off the sentence at 37, 38. But when I looked around at the men my age and I was trying my hardest, I can't compare myself with these guys. So everybody's story differently. But I'm gonna be honest, I found myself doing that. It was like, wow, if I had the time, if I had 20 years out here, I'd be doing this. I wouldn't be stuck here, but life. So to be a part of a network like Men on the Rise, a network like the Next Level Speakers Academy, or a network like Fayetteville State University in the matriculation program, or anything like that, when it's dealing with that collective fellowship with men, black men in particular, bro, that's always embraceable. It's always a spark in me and say, oh man, it's another man out here doing the same work that I've done. Maybe we can connect here to bring about a bigger impact, regardless if I'm from Rock Hill or Charlotte or wherever you may be from. So I appreciate that it's a safety net, and men need this safety net regardless of wherever you are on the planet. Brothers can come together and create that safety net for brothers to kind of actually pour into each other.
Yeah, that's key, man. Now, I want you to just let people know if they wanted to find out more about you, more about your vision, your mission, your business, how can they better tap in and connect in with you, man?
Man, my Instagram, tap in with my Instagram, More Visions Empowerment. You can also email me at More Visions Empowerment as well. I'm super active on it. My website is actually up on the development. So when you go check the bio out, you will see the website link. You can kind of go on the website and you can see some of the things that I got going on in the community. Until then, I have a speaker sheet that I kind of provide for the guys that might want to have me come out and do whatever we want to do and divide that impact. But more Visions Empowerment on Instagram.
Man, I appreciate you so much, my brother. You have definitely been a great inspiration to what we have been able to do. Every time I get around you, man, it just, that energy really, it resonates, man. So I appreciate all that you have done. I'm pretty sure those young men that you had a chance to speak into, I definitely appreciate you as well, man. You continue doing the great work that you are doing, and we look forward to seeing more and hearing more from you. And thank you so much for just tapping in, everyone. We hope you have a phenomenal day. But until we meet again, be great, but also be the change you want to see. You know,
for sure. Likewise, brother. Big respect to you. Appreciate you for having me, man.
No doubt, no doubt.